My name is Wesley O'Hara. I'm the Vice President of Education and Membership for the Music Managers Forum US. So just a quick overview of today's session. Noah Becker, who's the president and a co-founder of AdRev, to tell you about YouTube monetization and some channel growth strategies. And then from there, we're going to hand over to Ben Patterson, who's the president and founder of DashGo. Without further ado, let's introduce Noah Becker, who's the president of AdRev. Noah.
Howdy, okay. Thanks, Wes.
Absolutely.
Thanks everybody for joining. But yeah, my name's Noah Becker, co-founder and president of AdRev, longtime producer and composer and writer myself. So a lot of the AdRev team are as well. We're super passionate about helping the creative class in general monetize and maximize the value of their works. Really happy to be here talking to y'all today. So I'm gonna do just a quick walkthrough of what we're all about at AdRev, but nuts and bolts, high level, we are a very, very focused UGC DRM administrator, so user generated content, like the content that you see on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, etc., which we collaborate with DashGo on. Ben Patterson will step in a little later. He's founder and president of DashGo, which is our sister company that handles all digital distribution. So one of the things that we really like about our setup, Ben and I, is that we each have our focus on the different, sort of expertise levels. So AdRev really is the UGC strategy arm. We help people with YouTube and Facebook and other platforms with their strategy, DRM, monetization. And then for our clients to do digital distribution to Spotify and other places, they use DashGo. This is the advantage to the artist or the end user end client is fairly vast, just based on the focus levels that we're able to apply to each of the platforms. So I wouldn't be the guy to help you get great playlist promotions on Spotify. Ben and his team certainly are those guys and gals, and we are the guys and gals to help you maximize your YouTube channel, your content ID earnings, your publishing earnings, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Again, we really just try to be a holistic DRM services and technology company. We can cover the gamut of rights and platforms, be it through, combining an offering with DashGo, or if you needed publishing admin, we would, send you upstream to either Downtown or the Song Trust enterprise. We are owned at the parent level by AVL Digital, which is the holdco for CD Baby. AVL Digital is owned by Downtown Music Publishing, and we also have Access and Fuga as part of the family. So between the various holdco companies, we really can cover just about any offering you could imagine in terms of digital monetization of music or content assets. Just some stats on what we're up to. We're actually up to over 200 million monetized videos. We do a 250 billion annual views, about 14 million managed copyrights. We work with everything from DIY creators to enterprise level rights holders. So for example, Cruella, El Alpha, Trap Nation, all the Nation's branded channels totaling over 53 million subscribers are all active clients of ours. All the way over to publishers like Spirit Music Group and Big Deal Music, who control shares on Shawn Mendes tracks and things like that, to DIY creators and channel owners who are just doing their hustle on YouTube. So we really do have an offering that fits creators of any type or size, from DIY to enterprise. Just some more, kind of highlights. Both Ben and myself really look at our businesses as incredibly high touch and high service orientation. So we do have very robust proprietary technology stacks that power both DashGo and AdRev. But we really couple that technology with very, very high touch service. So it's important that we're really providing an end-to-end experience for our clients that allows you to focus on the things that are your strengths and let us take over the UGC and sort of so you don't have to worry about it. We do have a team of 8 full stack developers based offshore in the Ukraine. Our CTO is domiciled in Los Angeles. He runs that team. We develop technology in sprints and often develop bespoke technology for our larger clients. So clients that are in the 7-figure plus annual revenue range, can and often do get custom bespoke technology developed for them at a very reasonable cost inside the framework of their deal. We have a really staffed up royalty accounting team and technology. Several different pieces of internal tech ensure that we're, getting every penny out to rights holders that they're owed. We've paid over $200 million in YouTube related royalties since AdRev's inception in 2011, and we're on pace to pay out about $70 million this year. We do have an ability to process and account for complex ownership splits, do multiple payees, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we cover the gamut of YouTube, but we can slice and dice the offering and the service level based specifically on your needs. I'm not sure who reads Music Week or Music Business Worldwide, and we recently closed on Symbols.com. Symbols is a proprietary audio fingerprinting technology, so very similar to Content ID, the fingerprints that YouTube uses to help ensure that UGC is scanned and matched on YouTube. We supplement that system with this technology, which can match down to 2 seconds. The tech can also be used for auto tagging many thousands of files at a time, comparing an internal catalog for duplicates, searching retail and loop databases for samples, et cetera, et cetera. So it's revenue driving tech for YouTube claiming, but it's also a quality assurance and quality control technology that we leverage for labels and music libraries. Something that's new that we've been working on is license verification. Many of you may have heard of Licked or Artlist, Epidemic Sound, a lot of players in the YouTube sync licensing space. We've developed an API, an application programming interface, that allows an independent label, library, or DIY musician to launch a sync license offering, and essentially their offering can communicate with our API endpoint, and we can power automated claim releases. We could power promotional use rights, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of ways that we could apply this, but essentially, here's how it works. So I realize this is a pretty heavy slide, but the long and the short here is that black rectangle in the middle, whatever data that you're able to send into that database and that we can communicate with, our license verification software can take actions inside a YouTube CMS based on data that's sent to that licensing database. So for example, if you wanted a specific YouTube channel to have rights to monetize a master recording post for promotional uses for the first 6 months, you could store that data in the database and our tool could automatically reclaim, unclaim, et cetera, et cetera. So it basically helps you scale licensing and or promotional use licenses on UGC. I'm just going to jump out really quick. I know I'm covering a lot real fast. I think, Q&A is always the bread and butter of these types. YouTube's very granular and there's a lot there. But just going to take you out to the dashboard here. Very similar to what you might see if you were uploading a file to a CD Baby or a TuneCore, et cetera, et cetera. You can self-service here if you're an independent artist or label with your own Content ID rights, or at least the wiggle room to get out of your current Content ID reps. Very straightforward to upload here. Obviously, this is just a straight uploader. You can use FTP, which is if you had a really large catalog and wanted to deliver several hundred or maybe thousands of files at once. Though that said, if you did have that large of a catalog and you wanted to work with us, you could just deliver us a hard drive or tell us where to get the files and we could do all the work for you. YouTube Premium is just delivering art tracks. For example, if you are an independent composer who's not married to any particular digital distributor sending in your art tracks, you can do that through our portal. This is just a pending area. You're not going to see anything really here. Oh, it looks like I do have a couple old ones I need to fill in. These are my tracks. It's my own work here. So it looks like I've got a couple tracks still to send in. Here you can see all your submitted stuff. And it looks like I've just got an empty account here. Sorry, guys. And yeah, this is a summary. So this is my admin account. That's why there's nothing in here. And this is where we break down earnings, statements. Let me bump into the admin area. Sorry, y'all. Just real quick, I'll jump into one of my live accounts here. Oh, here we go. And you can see these massive earnings on this random EDM stuff I put out a few years ago, but at least we've got some live data here. Standard earnings, it would just be your general content ID earnings derived from advertisements that play over videos containing your music. YouTube Premium would be pro rata share of subscription revenue. These adjustment reports are when you have an asset that's in conflict or somebody's disputed a claim on a YouTube video. That revenue will get escrowed and then pay out in the following period. Market share, obviously this account didn't have enough heat in it to participate in any market share payments. And then statements. Here we break down all the different earning types that I just walked through in different reports. You might ask, why are they broken into so many different reports? The fact of the matter is, most of our clients are enterprise level clients with at least hundreds of rights, if not many, many thousands of rights. And to download a single CSV or Excel file containing all the data and every line item that earned them money would make for an Excel file that not even the largest supercomputer could manipulate. That said, for our more white glove service clients, larger clients, we do accounting summaries and can compile all this data for you in a summary statement or perform subtotals by artists and things like that, just to help you out with your accounting processes. But we do feel confident that this is the single most transparent earnings dashboard for YouTube earnings on the planet. We break down every single fractional penny of earnings or greater and display it to you line item by line item, row by row, so you can see where absolutely every last little dollar came from in terms of your YouTube income. And you can see I had a much better year late 2017 than I'm having with these files these days. But again, if you're a high velocity artist or label, these numbers will be substantial for you. I'm just gonna jump out real quick and go back to the Prezzo real quick. Sorry. And so yeah, that's the login. And just to reiterate, that is self-serviceable. So if you are a manager or an artist with, just an album or two of tracks that you need to get serviced and into Content ID ASAP, you can just go ahead and sign up for an account and feel free to email me directly to expedite getting that account approved. I'm just noah@adrev.net. The base rate for self-service is 80/20. The rate does get better and is negotiable. So by all means, if you're interested, just hit us up, hit me up. I can point you in the right direction to our BD team and work on getting you onboarded. We also have, as I mentioned earlier, we do manage all 9 nations branded channels on YouTube, as well as some other really massive artist channels like El Alpha is a huge Dembo act, Cruella, Borgor, Cypress Hill. We've got some really fun channels like Lydia Bastiach, who's one of the top Italian chefs in the world. We're working on some collabos with her and Cypress Hill, maybe to do some medicated cooking shows and things like that. So we're always looking to expand our channel representation. Again, our offering is wide open or as sliced and diced as you need it to be. So you could sign up just for master recordings, you could sign up just for channel, you could sign up just for publishing. And as long as we're on, and speaking directly to a lot of artist managers here, one of the biggest gaps we find for independent artists or artists that are signed to powerful independent labels, if you don't have a pub admin deal signed, chances are you are just missing dollars on YouTube on the pub side. And again, we're very happy to just go pick that money up for you in the meantime while you figure out your pub admin reps. We're currently working with a lot of popular acts, just scooping up their publishing and making sure that no income falls through the cracks on that stuff. There are some nefarious folks in the space who will go claim your publishing income as though it's theirs if you don't go claim it. So if you have a singer-songwriter or a self-admin artist who just writes with 1 or 2 folks, real clean, easy pub setup sort of stuff, but you're not sure what's going on with YouTube publishing income, definitely hit us up so we can make sure that it's taken care of. So yeah, like I said, we have a multi-channel network called the AdRev Talent Network. It's run by a gentleman named Matt Whitmire. He's our VP of Content Strategy. And Matt is really the season's expert on channel growth and optimization. but we do have a very built out team there. And we're currently working with about 300 level channels and then some more mid-tier channels, working on a lot of cross collaborative efforts between those channels. A little bit tougher now during the Corona times, but when we get out of this mess, we're going to be getting into a little bit more content strategy, content production, and really trying to hyperdrive some of those channels that I just mentioned. Working on a really forward-thinking promotional dashboard for the nations that we'll be rolling out shortly, that we'll be able to integrate other MCNs into to help for online music promotions through UGC posting, et cetera, et cetera. That is pretty much the sum of what I've brought. Again, I think we should, everybody, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I truly believe that. And when it comes to YouTube monetization, there really is no such thing as a bad question. It's very granular. There's a lot of nuance to it. So yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Ben so he can talk about the DashGo origin story and our digital distribution offering. And then we'll just open it up for Q&A, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And just real quick, here's our sort of breakdown of contacts, and I can provide that after the session as well.
Hey everybody. So I think I was invited, one, because I get to work with Noah, which is great, and two, because I founded what's now DashGo when I was working at a music management company back in 2004, long enough ago that it was called New Media instead of digital at the time. I spent a lot of time with ringtones and other things, but was there as the early versions of digital music stores like Apple, iTunes, and Napster's first version, and Press Play and others launched, and really started DashGo with a genesis of being a full service digital sales solution for independent artists that were, not yet ready for a major label deal. I mean, the major label deal was still the expected end goal for all of the managers I worked with at the time, but they had artists they were hip pocketing or sort of testing the waters with, and I was in charge at the time of running New Media, aka digital, for a management company, and had relationships with Apple and these stores, and was able to procure both distribution but also promotional opportunities on those stores, like single of the week and things like that. So the first few years of DashGo was really just hand-to-hand combat, opening and closing new DSP deals as fast as possible, making sure our small limited catalog was available everywhere. And really the first tech investment we made was building a really comprehensive royalty tool. And I think that sort of transparency for clients and accurate reporting has really helped us and our clients over the last decade and a half, because it's important, as Noah said, to really pay attention to all those fractions of a penny that are coming from all over the place. Reports get larger and larger as you get more successful, and you want a partner that can really accurately handle that for you. We were pretty quick to open new DSPs, YouTube in 2007, Spotify 2007. We launched the full client-facing version of DashGo in 2008. That's where we had a whole dashboard to manage assets and track sales trends and get your financial reports and manage your releases. We started adding label clients outside of direct artist clients around 2009. And then since 2011, we've had some genre specialization. We're quite strong in regional Mexican, lo-fi, and then sort of indie pop and alternative. We were acquired by Audio Micro, AdRev in 2014, and then by CD Baby in 2018, and then Downtown Music Holdings in 2019. Throughout all of that, our core mission is the same, which is really full service, white glove digital distribution for artists and independent, smaller niche independent labels. We are very focused on that. We have a curated roster, and really, want to be the partner for our artists and clients and be their advocate at the digital DSPs. So today, sort of where we we operate. We're mostly here in Los Angeles. We're actually up to 16 in Culver City now. We have a rep in Japan, in the UK, and then we work with Latin American reps that are shared across our organization and CD babies in Mexico City, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Colombia, and Buenos Aires, Argentina. And those are places where we have both a marketing footprint as well as a sales footprint, and the marketing side being, relationships with the local market DSPs, the Brazilian reps at Spotify and Apple and YouTube and the like. The same thing in Mexico City. So when we work with a client and we make them a global priority, we actually do have resources internationally to help execute that. So when touring happens again, and you've got an artist somewhere else in the world besides their apartment, we can help work with the local resources in those markets to pitch and promote them. So where I think there's a lot of similarities between us and the other digital distributors out there in terms of scope. The scope of services as presented. We cover pretty much every retailer you can imagine. We have marketing and promotional editorial support working with you as a sales team. We provide advances on occasion. We have a comprehensive dashboard. At the end of the day, I think a real differentiator for DashGo and the other platforms is our commitment to our clients and our white glove service. We really, really try to work hard to answer all the questions that our clients have around their releases, strategizing the best ways to put that out, talking through the game strategy after it's out, continuing to stick with a promotional plan and working with our sales releases, well after release, and identifying trends on behalf of our clients that we can go out and execute. And a lot of that is actually in conjunction with AdRev, where they manage UGC claiming for our clients, making sure that high velocity assets, songs that get big in like a TikTok challenge or YouTube meme or something else are properly claimed and fingerprinted. And I can tell you confidently that AdRev has helped our clients' assets in YouTube capture, well over 6 figures on single individual songs based on careful attention to short form usage that would otherwise be missed by YouTube's claiming engine. So, I think having that 1-2 punch of being a competent digital distributor with a really, really specialized and strong YouTube administration engine and technology adjacent to us helps, I think, our clients capture a lot of income that would otherwise be missed. You want to jump ahead? Yeah, so I just run sort of more contemporary case study. On an artist side, we worked with a few companies to relaunch Tessa Violet's newest album, starting with the single Crush in 2018. We positioned her with the help of Connect the Dots and Black Box, and eventually Tag Strategic joined on as management. Had a lot of DSP support out of the gate, including Spotify's New Music Friday. Really built that single over a number of months, helped them fund their independent radio campaign. And then eventually when the album launched almost a year and a half later in October of 2019, it came with like extensive global support from YouTube, from Apple, Amazon, from Spotify, and other DSPs picked up quite a bit of coverage as well. We've launched a number of artists throughout the years. We definitely know where our niche is in sort of indie pop and alternative and regional Mexican and Latin and lo-fi, but we are competent in a number of genres, and we're pretty good at telling you if we're going to be a good partner for you on a release as well. We're not going to just sign a project just to sign a project. We want to make sure that we have a plan that we can execute with you to succeed.
Just to kind of recap what we've discussed so far. So AdRev has a primary function around helping people get more money out of YouTube by claiming assets that are using, different parts of music copyrights across the internet. Then they also have the additional business of assisting in production of content and channel management and channel growth strategy as its own kind of provided service. And then as far as if you're looking at an independent artist or an independent distribution situation where you have total control of what you can do with your assets, if you want to make sure that everything's uploaded to Content ID immediately, the process through which AdRev actually goes and distributes that music into Content ID is through DashGo. Then DashGo has its additional services of being a full stack distributor with marketing and support across all sorts of different regional places. I think to start, is that an okay summary, Noah and Ben, from your guys' positions?
Yeah, the only misstatement was which pipes are sending the files into YouTube, essentially, but it doesn't really matter. You could sign with AdRev for YouTube and we could deliver. You could sign with DashGo for distribution and they could deliver, and then we could take over. It just doesn't really matter one way or the other. It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other how it gets into YouTube. But yeah, that's a good summary. Basically, what Ben and I are here trying to convey is that we feel confident that the combined offering with the specialized services of retail and streaming versus UGC is advantageous to artists, and we've certainly found that it is in the regression data that we have on hand. Another thing just to mention, to summarize, that I forgot to mention and was on Ben sheet, Ben and I are able to cross-collateralize advances against each other's earnings. So essentially, we can combine YouTube channel, YouTube Content ID, YouTube publishing, and Spotify streaming, Amazon revenue, et cetera, to come up with the largest advance pool possible for you. So, and we're certainly interested in finding prospects right now to deploy capital to. So if you have an artist that's performing really well on platform and is making good recurring monthly revenue, but you need some capital to get some stuff done, we're definitely a great resource for that right now. And our pre-recoup rates aren't too aggressive or insane. Maybe we sign a normal deal at 85.15, pre-recoup it's 75 to 80, post-recoup it kicks to 85 or 90, something like that. It again will just depend on the size of the deployment and what the monthly recurring is. But we can get pretty compressed on rates, and certainly Ben and I both want to be highly competitive and win business to whatever extent possible when it's a good fit. So you just reach out if you're entertaining other offers, and we want to be competitive.
Cool.
And let me add, I'll just add one more thing. It might complicate things, but in terms of that, Song Trust is also a sister company of ours. So to the extent that publishing is out there, certainly AdRev is well equipped to capture and collect that on YouTube. But if you need broader collections across PROs and other mechanical streams, DashGo and or Song Trust can provide that sort of an all-in package as well. So for some clients that control both sides of the copyright, we can help there.
Cool. And guys, what's the simplest email just for people to contact you guys at, just before we dive into all the questions, because there are a ton of questions. So
okay, great. Yeah, for me, I mean, the easiest is just support@adrev.net, and again, it's .net, not .com, but just support support@adrev.net, or feel free to just hit me up directly and I can funnel your query to the right personnel. And I am Noah, N-O-A-H, @adrev.net. AdRev.com is a random marketing company in Australia who we've offered many, many dollars to buy the domain and will not cough it up. So,
so we've got a whole stack of questions coming through here.
And sorry, Wes, let me just add to that and just to help Ben out here. If you have DashGo related queries too, just go ahead and send them to support, and our help desk team can funnel them to the right DashGo personnel. Not a problem.
Okay, cool. So first question is a pretty straightforward one. How long is a term for AdRev or for DashGo? I imagine there are 1,000 answers to this question depending on the
Yeah, so Ben's answer will differ slightly, but we, like I said, we can go as we prefer for a 1-year term because it does take several months to really get this thing ramped up, deliver assets to our internal systems for the increased manual claiming potential and revenue driving. But if need be, we have done 30-day rolling renewals again, and especially during these times. I'm more happy to do those sorts of deals right now just to make sure people are covered. Wes and I have a shared colleague that we're representing some publishing for right now, just on a 30-day rolling term because he's likely to go seek a large pub admin deal in advance at some point in the future. So we wanted to give him that flexibility. But for DashGo, I will let Ben address that.
We're standard 1 year is what we asked for, but it's specific to the content that you license us. So it's not a commitment to deliver all the content you produce in that year, but 1 year for the content you do release with us. There's always flexibility in everything, and that varies, sometimes in situations where we have agreed to go a little bit less than that, depending on the scope of the project, or if we have an advance on the table, sometimes it extends out a little bit longer than that. But 1 year is what we aim for, and we find is the best chance for us to succeed with the client.
Cool. I'm just going to send everyone the support@adrev.net email. So you're going to get that option right now. Boom, I think. And then, okay, let me just try to structure these questions a little. So as Noah mentioned, I do have an artist client of mine who works with AdRev on a single song primarily. It's one of the biggest songs ever on the internet, and we were transitioning from one distributor to another, and also in between publishing deals. So basically, AdRev helps us find extra hundreds and hundreds of dollars a day in YouTube revenue from user-generated content that was associated with that track. So a big question around AdRev and DashGo are owned by the same parent company that also owns CD Baby at this point. So how, if somebody is already a CD Baby Pro user, are they already participating with YouTube monetization in the same way as as AdRev can facilitate?
That's a great question. Yes, we are administering most of the enterprise's YouTube-related music assets. So absolutely. And there is, you mentioned CD Baby Pro. So sort of a natural iteration from stepping up to CD Baby Pro would be to move into the DashGo framework and get more direct label services. So CD Baby Pro is wonderful, but absolutely, if you're thinking about moving out of CD Baby Pro, you want to launch your own label, you're going to sign other acts, or you just feel you need more direct, really one-on-one support. We are beginning to upstream CD Baby Pro artists over to DashGo. But yeah, that's a great question. And yes, we do rights claiming for the Downtown Publishing catalog. We do it for the DashGo Masters catalog, and we do it for our AdRev clients, and we also do it on behalf of Song Trust and the CD Baby Pro artists as well. Great question.
And so if a song is already out and already distributed to other platforms, there's a question of if it's been administered by somebody, but it's no longer being administered, and if it's been released already, and it's not really being administered right now, people are still able to submit to AdRev, correct?
100%. If it's open territory, and if the file's already distributed to retail, it's likely just sitting in YouTube, potentially either escrowing money or just missing money. So answer is absolutely yes. If something has fallen by the wayside by changing distribution hands over and over, et cetera, we can go pick that up very quickly.
Great. As far as for AdRev and DashGo distribution and monetization and protection purposes, do you guys work with non-music assets as well? So can DashGo distribute podcasts, spoken word, different kinds of things like that? And can AdRev administer them in the same kind of way? Let's start with Ben for a distributor question.
Sure. So we don't distribute podcasts. We do distribute some spoken word material, archived radio shows. A good example would be This American Life. In Car Talk, we deliver the downloadable for sale archives of those shows to Amazon and download services. Those are getting fewer and farther between, and they've kind of evolved into a podcast model. So yes, in specific instances, but I think there's much more opportunity on the AdRev side, and I'll let Noah speak to that.
Cool.
Yeah, certainly. We have a few different podcast clients that we help with a variety of services, offerings, and technology. We do, if you have a paywalled podcast that you just want to keep that podcast off platform, we can do piracy protection. But we also build.
So you mean if someone, if you have a podcast up somewhere and you don't want other people to be able to use it across YouTube or SoundCloud?
That's correct. That can definitely, cannibalize your revenue. Obviously, if you have a paywall subscription podcast and some smarty pants is reposting your podcasts on YouTube, we have a very reasonably priced offering to basically make sure that stuff is shut down very quickly. If you have popular podcast already on Spotify or Apple and are just looking to build out a YouTube channel or have a YouTube channel and just want help with it, by all means, we're super bullish on the podcast space. Wes says I panel hijacked Wes on a podcast panel at the Do conference a while back. But yeah, there's a lot we can do for podcasts, and certainly monetizing podcasts on YouTube and having it set up properly to essentially block all third-party uses and funnel all views on YouTube directly to your channel can drive some really attractive revenue and possibly outpace your Spotify earnings on those podcasts on a per stream basis.
Yeah. And then there are a couple more questions. Does AdRev have anything to do with collection from Sound Exchange? First question.
We do not handle Sound Exchange, but Ben, do you do Sound Exchange?
Yes, DashGo will collect the master rights holder side of the Sound Exchange royalty. The artist performer royalty is still payable directly to either the artist, and the manager can facilitate registration for that. But as far as the recording portion, yes, we collect that.
And then how far back can AdRev claim revenue from YouTube assets? And let's break this down between recording and publishing, because this is a very important distinction. No, you got me?
Sorry, I had a breakup. I had a warble. Can you say it again?
Yeah, sorry. Question is, how far back can recorded and publishing royalties from YouTube claim?
Great questions. Really good questions. So unfortunately, on the master side, it's a 0 days back. Unless there were uncleared territories where there might have been views and ad income escrowed on the master, but that's very atypical, I'll say. So let's just say on the master side, not a great chance. On the publishing side,
before we do continue a little bit, for the master side, it's way easier to find the audio file, because that's just the recording fingerprint. It's not the same kind of relationship.
Well, yes, but I'm also just referring here, Wes, to systematic behavior and how YouTube deals with unknown income. So basically, it's I think it might get a little funky to explain, but basically due to exposure, right, to publisher suits, YouTube escrows uncleared publishing income, right? They don't want to have any exposure there. So let's say Wes's best song is a master recording. Noah's the 100% writer and publishing owner on that. I produced it and wrote it for Wes. He just showed up in the studio and sang on it and has his lovely artist name attached to it. So Wes is earning income off the bat when that master recording gets delivered into YouTube Content ID. And then what happens is an ancillary composition share asset gets also created for the publishing owner. Now, the second that happens, that composition share will begin to escrow the publishing money on that asset. And then when my pub administer comes along and actually adds my ownership to that composition share, then that escrowed publishing income will get released in an ongoing pay period. On the master side, master files come in de facto with ownership. So they just start generating revenue and paying out the revenue automatically. There is no escrow side to that.
That's the part that I wanted to make sure also comes through.
Yeah. So again, that's why when we first started this business in 2011, and we would have people, feel like we were kind of pulling teeth to get someone to deliver. It was like sort of like shaking them, like, yo, you can't get this money back. So let's go get it right now. And if you don't like it, we can turn it off. But yeah, there's a lot of, it is still, YouTube's done a wonderful job with the system. I think they take a lot more heat than they deserve for it, to be frank. But it is the one thing about it that is, is a fact, is it is a bit of the wild, wild west. And people can get in there and do funky, nefarious stuff without a lot of oversight. So if you're unsure what's going on with your master recordings, or you're not receiving YouTube Content ID income on masters that are doing, reasonably well on Spotify and other platforms, something's wrong. Let's get it taken care of.
Cool. I think that's all of our questions that we've had from the audience. So Ben or Noah, are there any other things that you'd like managers or self-managed artists just to really kind of think of as far as getting started with AdRev, getting started with DashGo? Just, really, really simple. This is what we can do. This is, yeah.
This is a simple one everyone should know. I mean, your release has a better chance of success the longer lead time you have. So I like to make sure that all of our clients and our priority pitches have a 3 to 4 week lead time, and that's from the time that we've delivered it to a store, be that Spotify or YouTube or Amazon or Apple. And that's going to help you and your artist win and get more attention from the DSPs. It's going to give the editors and the curators there more time to listen to that song and know that you've thought about it. I know there's an inclination and a desire to finish something great and put it out there immediately and get reaction on it, and we can do that these days, but that's not always best for the project. YouTube, a lot of stuff goes up on YouTube right after it's finished in some form or another, and Spotify and Apple see that as competitive, even if it's just on your own channel. So I say, when you finish a project, sit with it for a second, talk about how you want to put it out to the world, and give it a minute with whoever your distributor is, rather than throw it out reactively if you have the time to do that.
Cool.
I would just, that's great. Obviously great advice from Ben, and sort of the inverse for YouTube. Like if you've got existing masters out there and you're not sure what's going on, you definitely want to attack it as quickly as possible. But I think, again, just want to reiterate that, I'm a longtime recording artist and producer and writer myself, and just really passionate about the space, and want to make sure that, everybody is taken care of during this tough time. So feel free to just reach out with ad hoc questions or concerns. Even if we don't end up doing business together, just happy to connect and be supportive of the independent community right now. Thanks a lot, Wes, for having us.
And thanks Noah and Ben so much for coming on. Everyone, thank you for your great questions. This was an excellent session.